There exists a warrior whose name is a war cry disguised as a question: who is like God? Archangel Michael, the great prince of celestial hierarchies, the commander who faced the original rebellion without flinching, the guardian who has witnessed the birth and collapse of civilizations without a single tremor crossing his eternal face. For eons beyond human comprehension, this being operated in absolute composure, zero emotion, pure execution. He defended, destroyed, protected and fulfilled with the mechanical precision of a soldier forged before time learned to measure itself, until you laughed. Not the polished laughter of victory, not the celebratory sound that erupts when everything finally aligns. The laughter that shattered Michael's eternal silence came from the floor of your defeat, broken, exhausted, surrounded by the wreckage of failed attempts and unanswered prayers. You sat in the ruins of your expectations with empty hands and a heart cracked open by disappointment, and instead of surrendering to the logical response of despair, you laughed. A raw, rebellious sound that defied every reasonable assessment of your situation. This wasn't denial, this was spiritual warfare conducted through vocal cords. Your laughter functioned as a frequency, a declaration of war against the orchestrated darkness attempting to convince you of your insignificance. And this exact phenomenon, this transformation from victim to warrior through sound alone, is what I explore deeply in the second volume of the 3 Keys to a Prosperous Life, which reveals how certain vibrational frequencies unlock celestial intervention beyond human comprehension. You'll find the complete trilogy in the pinned comment below, because what happened to you in that moment of sacred rebellion wasn't random. It was the activation of ancient spiritual law that operates whether you understand it or not. That frequency traveled through dimensions your physical eyes cannot detect, reaching the ears of a warrior who thought he had witnessed every possible expression of human resilience across millennia of observation. The scientific reality of sound operates through vibration. Every laugh generates a specific frequency pattern that ripples outward, impacting molecular structures and energy fields in measurable ways. When you emitted that sound from the epicenter of your devastation, you weren't producing mere acoustic waves. You were broadcasting a signal that contradicted every circumstance surrounding you, creating a harmonic dissonance so profound it pierced through celestial observation protocols that have remained unbroken since the foundations of creation were laid. Ancient spiritual texts describe genuine joy as one of the highest vibrational states accessible to human consciousness, a frequency so pure it functions as both weapon and sanctuary. The mystical traditions speak of this as the laughter of the initiated, the sound produced only by those who have died to their own understanding and been resurrected into a reality where circumstances no longer dictate emotional response. In Sufi mysticism, the masters teach of a spiritual state called holy intoxication, where the soul becomes so drunk on divine presence that it laughs at calamity. Christian mystics reference the peace that surpasses understanding, but what they rarely articulate is that this peace often expresses itself through paradoxical laughter, joy erupting from the grave of human logic. The biological mechanism behind this phenomenon reveals layers of divine engineering in your physical form. When you laugh genuinely, especially in conditions that should produce cortisol and adrenaline, the stress hormones that prepare you for fight or flight, your brain instead floods your system with endorphins, dopamine, and oxytocin. This biochemical cocktail doesn't just improve your mood, it rewrites your neural pathways in real time. Neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to form new connections, accelerates dramatically in states of authentic joy. You are literally rewiring your consciousness away from defeat patterns while surrounded by defeat circumstances. Your vagus nerve, the longest cranial nerve in your body, connects your brain directly to your heart, lungs, and digestive system. When you laughed in that dark moment, you activated this nerve in a way that sent signals of safety and victory to your entire biological system, overriding the environmental input screaming danger and failure. From a quantum physics perspective, you collapsed the wave function of potential outcomes in your favor. Quantum mechanics teaches that observation affects reality at the subatomic level. The observer changes the observed. Your laughter wasn't observation, it was declaration. You declared victory before evidence supported the claim, forcing reality to reorganize around the frequency you emitted rather than the circumstances you inhabited. Michael has protected you since before you developed conscious memory. Every near-miss accident that logic cannot explain possessed a military precision you never detected. That car that swerved at the last possible microsecond, avoiding your vehicle by centimeters when mathematics suggested impact was inevitable. Michael's hand on that steering wheel, adjusting trajectory in the split-second window before collision. That toxic person who inexplicably distanced themselves just when they were positioned to inflict maximum damage to your life trajectory. Michael whispered into their spirit a discomfort so profound they had no choice but to retreat, though they couldn't articulate why. That door that closed just before you walked into complete destruction, the job you didn't get, the relationship that ended before you merged your life with someone carrying spiritual death in their bloodstream. These weren't coincidences scattered randomly across your timeline. They were surgical interventions performed by a guardian operating under direct orders from the throne of creation itself. The assignment Michael received regarding your life wasn't standard protocol. In angelic hierarchies, protection details are distributed according to threat level and destiny significance. You've been under maximum level protection since before your first breath, which means your existence registers on scales you haven't begun to comprehend. The Catholic tradition speaks of guardian angels assigned at conception, but what most don't understand is that guardian assignments vary in rank and authority. Most humans receive protection from angels in lower hierarchies, capable certainly, but operating within limited jurisdictions. When an archangel receives a protection assignment, it indicates the person carries destiny-level importance that affects more than their individual life. Your decisions, your spiritual state, your ultimate victory or failure ripples across timelines and influences outcomes for people you'll never meet in the physical realm. Michael has stood watch over kings who shaped empires, prophets who redirected the course of human consciousness, warriors who fought battles that determined whether entire civilizations would survive or collapse. He witnessed David's mighty men hold ground against impossible odds. He observed Joan of Arc ride into battle carrying a sword she never wielded, winning through spiritual authority rather than physical violence. He protected Moses through the wilderness, ensuring the man who would deliver the law survived assassination attempts orchestrated by Pharaoh's sorcerers operating in dimensions the biblical text doesn't explicitly detail. Across all these assignments, Michael maintained his eternal composure, duty executed with perfection, but zero emotional breach. You represented a continuation of this pattern. Another assignment, valuable certainly, critical to the larger architecture of divine plans unfolding across generations, absolutely, but categorized within the operational framework of celestial security protocols nonetheless. Michael defended you because that was his function, his divine mandate, the role he has fulfilled since before the earth cooled from its molten state. He destroyed attacks against your life with the same efficiency he has applied across millions of protection details spanning human history. Professional, precise, emotionally neutral, until you laughed in the ruins of your shattered expectations and everything changed. When you demonstrated the capacity to generate joy in the geographical center of your suffering, you revealed something Michael had searched for across infinite battles without finding, authentic spiritual strength that operates independent of favorable circumstances. This is the rarest commodity in all creation, power that doesn't require permission from external conditions. Most humans, even the faithful, even the devoted, operate on a conditional emotional system. When circumstances align favorably, they praise. When blessings flow, they worship. When prayers receive immediate answers, they believe. But strip away the favorable conditions, remove the tangible blessings, delay the answers until faith feels foolish, and watch how quickly that devotion evaporates into doubt, complaint, and accusation. Michael has watched this pattern repeat across millennia. He has observed the strongest warriors collapse into despair when their strength failed them. He has witnessed the most eloquent prophets fall silent when their words seem to produce no effect. He has stood guard over individuals carrying world-changing destinies who abandoned their assignments because the road proved harder than their commitment could sustain. In every case, he fulfilled his duty, protected them, cleared obstacles, orchestrated circumstances to make their path as navigable as possible. But he could not manufacture within them the one element that cannot be installed from external sources. The spiritual fortitude to remain who you are when everything around you screams that being yourself is the problem. This capacity, this ability to generate light from your own core without requiring external fuel, is what separates chosen ones from merely religious individuals. Religion teaches you to be good when being good is rewarded. Spirituality teaches you to remain good when being good costs everything. Religion instructs you to have faith when faith feels reasonable. True spirituality forges souls who maintain faith precisely when faith appears absurd. Religion celebrates victory after battles are won. Spiritual warfare understands that the real victory occurs in the moment you laugh at defeat while still standing in its territory, declaring through sound alone that circumstantial evidence does not possess final authority over your identity. The moment your laughter reached Michael's awareness, penetrating dimensions that separate spiritual reality from physical experience, he experienced something his eternal existence hadn't prepared him for. Surprise. Not the mild surprise of encountering something unexpected, but manageable. The profound surprise of meeting something that violates everything you thought possible based on infinite prior data points. In that microsecond, you weren't an assignment. You were a mystery, a human being exhibiting strength that his celestial form, for all its power and glory, cannot manufacture because it requires a specific ingredient only available to beings who experience genuine vulnerability. Angels cannot truly risk anything because they cannot truly lose anything. They exist in eternal security, powerful beyond human comprehension, operating in realms where their essential nature remains unchangeable. They can choose rebellion like Lucifer did, selecting alignment or opposition, but they cannot experience the existential fragility that defines human consciousness. They don't wake up uncertain if they'll have enough strength to survive the day. They don't question whether they matter. They don't battle depression, anxiety, the crushing weight of disappointment repeated across years until hope feels like a joke you fell for too many times. You do. You carry all of that. You wake into the body that gets tired, the mind that doubts, the heart that breaks, the circumstances that don't care about your breaking point. And despite carrying all that weight, despite operating in a physical form that experiences legitimate limitation and authentic pain, you looked at your situation and laughed, not because you were in denial, not because you had numbed yourself to reality. You laughed because somewhere in the core of your being, in a place deeper than circumstances can reach, you know something that reality hasn't been able to beat out of you. This isn't how your story ends. Michael recognized that laughter as the sound of true power, the kind that functions without external support, that generates light from internal source, that defies logic through spiritual authority rather than visible evidence. And for the first time in his eternal existence, the great warrior smiled. Then, as the frequency of your laughter continued to ripple through dimensions, affecting the spiritual atmosphere around your life in ways you couldn't see, but that transformed everything nonetheless, Michael did something no biblical text records, no ancient manuscript documents, no theological treatise imagined. He laughed. The sound of an archangel laughing functions differently than human laughter. When you laugh, you produce sound waves that travel through air, impacting the immediate environment through vibration before dissipating. When Michael laughed, he generated a frequency that rewrote reality codes surrounding your existence. In computer terms, your laughter was authentic human expression, powerful and real. Michael's laughter was a system administrator editing your life's source code with permissions you don't possess. The moment Michael laughed, 3 seismic shifts occurred in the spiritual architecture surrounding your existence, shifts so profound they explain every unexplainable change you've noticed recently without understanding the source. First, your protection level didn't increase. It transformed in nature entirely. You ceased being a duty and became something personal. The difference resembles the distinction between a hired security guard, clocking hours, operating within contractual obligations, maintaining professional distance from the person they protect, versus a blood relative with no off switch for loyalty, someone whose own identity becomes intertwined with your survival and success. This explains phenomena you've observed without connecting them to their true cause. The chronic problems that suddenly dissolved without your direct intervention, toxic patterns that plagued you for years before vanishing as if they never existed. That person who tormented you inexplicably backing away, their hostility replaced by distance or even nervous respect they can't articulate. Financial impossibilities resolving through mechanisms you didn't activate, doors opening that remained locked despite years of effort, obstacles removing themselves from your path before you even knew they existed. These aren't random improvements. These are the visible effects of Michael's personal investment, which operates under completely different protocols than duty-based protection. When an archangel transitions from duty to personal loyalty, heaven's bureaucracy reorganizes around that relationship. Angels, under Michael's command, receive updated orders regarding your life. Demonic forces attempting to operate against you suddenly find themselves facing resistance levels that weren't present before. The spiritual atmosphere you walk through becomes hostile to anything attempting to harm you, not because you earned this through perfect behavior or correct doctrine, but because you impressed a warrior who thought nothing in creation could surprise him anymore. The second shift occurred in your spiritual field itself. You received an imprint, a frequency signature marking you as someone under archangel-level protection with personal investment. Think of this like a fingerprint embedded in your spiritual DNA, visible to entities operating in dimensions beyond physical sight. Darkness operates with intelligence, not blind aggression. Demonic hierarchies possess strategic intelligence that plans attacks with military precision, studying targets for weaknesses, waiting for optimal moments to strike. Coordinating assaults designed to inflict maximum damage with minimum resistance. When these forces detect the frequency signature you now carry, they recognize immediate consequences of engagement. This accounts for the retreat of opposition you've noticed without understanding its source. Fights that should have escalated suddenly deflating. People who normally drain you inexplicably maintaining distance. Temptations that usually grip you losing their power. Thoughts that typically spiral into darkness hitting an invisible wall. You attributed this to personal growth, and partially that's accurate. You have grown. But the complete truth includes the reality that your spiritual field now broadcasts a warning to malevolent forces. Engagement with this human carries consequences delivered by Michael himself. In spiritual warfare, demons calculate risk versus reward. Attacking someone under standard angelic protection might succeed depending on the human's vulnerability and the demon's rank. Attacking someone under Archangel protection with personal investment means guaranteed confrontation with a being whose sword has ended spiritual entities permanently. Most demonic forces, when detecting this signature, make the strategic decision to retreat and find easier targets. The cost-benefit analysis doesn't support engagement. This is why you've experienced sudden peace you didn't manufacture through discipline or prayer. The atmosphere around your life became inhospitable to forces that previously had access. The third shift, the most critical for your immediate future, is timeline compression. In spiritual systems, when heaven celebrates something about your life, when angelic beings register genuine approval of your spiritual state, predetermined sequences accelerate. Events programmed to unfold over years condense into months. Doors designed to open after long seasons of preparation suddenly appear in your present. Connections from your future move forward on the calendar, entering your life before you expected them, before you feel ready for them. This explains the recent sensation of time moving differently for you. Not faster exactly, but denser, pregnant with meaning and synchronicity that defies statistical probability. The random encounters that deliver exactly the phrase you needed. The book that falls off the shelf, open to the precise passage addressing your current struggle. The conversation overheard in a coffee shop that answers a question you haven't spoken aloud. The dream that provides clarity on a situation your waking mind couldn't solve. The sudden idea at 2 in the morning, arriving with such precision and completeness that you know you didn't generate it through normal thought processes. These aren't coincidences. This is active acceleration, your destiny responding to the signal transmitted when Michael's laughter echoed through dimensions, activating dormant timelines, pulling future events into your present reality. The technical term in spiritual literature is kairos moments, divine timing that supersedes chronological time, where God's agenda intersects human experience, collapsing ordinary sequences to accomplish extraordinary purposes. You've entered a kairos season, triggered not by your perfection, but by your laughter in the dark. The Apostle Paul revealed this mechanism explicitly in 1 Corinthians. We have become a spectacle to the whole universe, to angels and to human beings alike. The Greek word theatron gives us theater. Your life unfolds as narrative observed by celestial beings with genuine emotional investment in your outcome. You are not ignored by heaven, glanced at occasionally, acknowledged with the bare minimum of divine attention. You are studied, analyzed, protected, celebrated by entities whose attention spans encompass millennia, whose perspective includes seeing your entire timeline simultaneously, birth to death, all decisions and their consequences, every fork in the road and where each path leads. When humans watch a theatrical performance, they experience emotional responses to the characters: hope for the protagonist, anger at injustice, celebration when good triumphs, grief when tragedy strikes. Angelic observation of your life functions identically, except their observation includes active participation. They don't merely watch your story unfold. They fight for your victory, orchestrate circumstances to support your growth, remove obstacles blocking your progress, all while respecting the free will that makes your choices genuinely meaningful. Michael has observed countless human stories from this perspective. He has watched heroes rise and fall, witnessed spiritual giants achieve impossible victories, and seen promising warriors surrender to defeats that shouldn't have defeated them. Throughout all this observation, he maintained the composure expected of his rank, interested certainly, invested professionally, executing his duties with perfection. Your laughter changed his observation status from professional to personal. You became more than another human he was assigned to protect. You became someone whose victory he desires beyond the requirements of duty. But receiving this revelation triggers predictable opposition that arrives with timing so precise it appears coordinated, because it is coordinated. Darkness operates through intelligence networks that monitor for spiritual advancement, dispatching countermeasures designed to steal revelation before it takes root in your consciousness. Within hours or days of absorbing this truth, that Michael himself broke his eternal silence because of you, a situation will arrive specifically engineered to extract what you just learned. The attack will likely arrive through familiar channels, because darkness understands that tested pathways offer highest probability of success. That relationship carrying unresolved tension will suddenly escalate into a fight that intensifies without reasonable cause. Words spoken carrying weight beyond their surface, meaning old wounds reopening as if time healed nothing. A painful memory will resurface from storage where you thought you had successfully buried it, returning with sensory detail so vivid it feels present rather than past, forcing you to re-experience trauma you already survived once. A person from your past will reappear, the ex who knows exactly which buttons to push, the family member whose criticism still cuts through your defenses, the former friend who understands your insecurities with surgical precision, entering your life again with timing that appears coincidental but carries intentional design. The voice of doubt will whisper its familiar script with renewed intensity. See? Nothing actually changed. You're the same as always. That revelation about Michael was nice emotional content maybe, but your reality remains identical. You're still struggling with the same patterns. You're still weak where you've always been weak. Heaven didn't really move. You imagined it all because you're desperate for significance you don't actually possess. When that arrives, and it will arrive, because it represents the standard response of darkness to every spiritual advance, you must deploy the same weapon that shattered Michael's eternal composure. Laugh. Not forced performance designed to convince yourself you're fine when you're not. Not fake positivity that denies legitimate pain. Genuine, rebellious, holy laughter that declares war against the lie attempting to re-establish itself in your consciousness. The laughter that acknowledges, yes, this hurts, yes, this is difficult, yes, circumstances still look impossible, and yet my identity doesn't derive from circumstances, so circumstances don't possess authority to define me. This laughter functions as spiritual warfare because it operates on a frequency darkness cannot match or counter. Demonic forces traffic in fear, doubt, despair, shame, low-frequency emotions that contract your energy field and dim your spiritual light. Joy, especially paradoxical joy that emerges from suffering rather than being prevented by it, operates on a frequency so high that demonic entities cannot sustain contact with it. When you laugh in the face of attacks designed to make you despair, you're not being naive or delusional. You're deploying a weapon that proved powerful enough to break the eternal composure of heaven's fiercest warrior. Consider the mathematical logic. If your laughter, the sound produced by a limited human being operating in a physical body, carrying trauma and weakness and legitimate struggle, proved strong enough to penetrate celestial dimensions and cause an archangel who has never shown emotion to laugh in response, then that same laughter carries more than sufficient power to demolish any fabricated attack against your identity. The demonic forces attempting to steal your revelation possess a fraction of Michael's power. If you broke through his defenses, you can shatter theirs. Look at your right hand right now. Study it with new eyes, seeing it not as ordinary flesh, but as the physical evidence of your endurance. Those lines map your resistance. Each crease records battles fought without witnesses, victories no one applauded, defeats you survived alone without rescue, arriving when you screamed for it. Those calluses prove you worked when nobody watched, invested effort into outcomes you couldn't guarantee, kept building even when every project you touched seemed to crumble, kept trying even when trying appeared foolish based on repeated failures. Those scars, whether visible on the skin or invisible in the soul, seal battles you won alone without audience or medal. The scar from that accident that should have ended you. The emotional scar from that betrayal that taught you who not to trust. The spiritual scar from that season when God felt absent and you had to choose between maintaining faith or surrendering to the evidence that you were forgotten. Each scar is a trophy, proof that you engaged with something strong enough to wound you and survived the encounter. What you perceive as ordinary flesh, just a hand, just 5 fingers, just skin and bone performing basic functions, Michael sees as the hand that held what the entire universe tried to rip away. Your faith, when circumstances suggested faith was foolish. Your essence, when pressure demanded you become someone else to survive. Your sacred stubbornness to remain who you are, when the world offered easier paths that required you to betray your core identity. An eternal warrior who destroyed empires without blinking, who faced the original rebellion and won, who has witnessed the birth and collapse of civilizations, looked at that hand and recognized something his celestial sword cannot accomplish. His weapon destroys enemies with efficiency that human warfare cannot match. One sweep of his blade has ended thousands of demonic entities simultaneously, cleared spiritual atmospheres around entire cities, protected nations from attacks their citizens never knew were coming. But your hand does what no angelic arsenal can replicate. It holds, endures, refuses to release even when surrender would hurt less than continuing to grip what everyone says you should let go. That capacity, that stubborn grip on identity and faith when every reasonable voice counsels release, impressed a being who thought nothing remained in creation capable of surprising him. Michael has witnessed humans perform miracles through faith, healing the sick, raising the dead, moving mountains through spoken declarations. These manifestations are powerful, certainly, but they require specific conditions: active faith, sufficient spiritual authority, alignment with divine timing. What you demonstrated doesn't require perfect conditions. You held on through the conditions designed specifically to make you let go. You maintained identity through the identity crisis designed to destroy your sense of self. You kept believing through the dark night meant to extinguish belief. This is why your assignment to Michael's protection detail carried Archangel-level priority before you accomplished anything externally impressive. Heaven doesn't measure significance the way humans do. Humans measure success through visible achievements. Money accumulated, status achieved, influence exercised, comfort secured. Heaven measures through a different metric: spiritual strength that manifests independent of external validation. The person who maintains